Well, I met a new contact yesterday and had a super great discussion. And the thing that's still bopping around in my head from it is we went really deep on how you can make a brand identity, how you can run a business that is more than one thing. Especially when something feels very personal to you, whether because it's something you're very passionate about or because your brand overlaps a lot with your person. Um, it can feel really constrained to follow like that very traditional marketing advice of niching down and encapsulating yourself in just a few words, be one thing for one audience. That can feel like it is limiting for people who maybe conceptualize themselves more as connectors between things. Maybe you feel like you translate things from one like language of work to another, and that your value is in seeing things holistically. I know I relate to that. So here are three ways that we talked about that can be useful ways to approach this problem of like wanting to be more than one thing and do work that is complex and maybe taps on different areas of your expertise. So the first one, and lots of credit goes to everything that I've learned from Haley Boeing at Storyforge for this. The first one is storytelling, because story is an appeal to something that is bigger than yourself. It's not just you that believes in your story, but it is all of your stakeholders that believe in that same story. So that's not just a mission, which is the what of the thing that is on your desk. But that is the bigger picture that it is all a part of. And I think when you engage in storytelling through your brand voice, through your style, through the different content that you create, the way that you show up in the world, you you appeal to something that goes beyond just the strict words on the page. It's like when you read a novel, it creates a world that's beyond like strictly what is written in the sentences. Your mind can start filling in the rest. And when brands successfully do that, I think it creates space around whatever the work is that has been done in the past or what's strictly being offered on the page into potential for a lot more, potential for many more things that can fit into like that bigger story. So that can give a lot of room for growing and for doing like really cool complex work. So that's number one. Number two is I'm stealing from my business partner Anna Hetzel. I love stealing. Is creating a container for work that can support complexity. And what I mean by that is rather than defining like one specific deliverable that you always offer, going about packaging the work in a way that allows for flexibility, allows for you to focus on the ways that you can deliver the most value. The way that we found to do that at Strange Birds is like rather than making project-based proposals, we only work on a time-based subscription system, so that within that time we have the capacity to focus on like what's most important for you now, and allows us to do many things rather than saying, hey, that's out of scope, that wasn't in the original proposal, because like things shift fast in business, and that gives us the capacity to do some really cool things together that like maybe weren't so evident at the moment when we originally like signed on with somebody, and allows us to like be real partners. And I think a lot of people could think about building that flexibility into the way in which they get paid and the way in which they propose that the work gets done, because the container that something is in defines the experiences that are possible within it. Like we know that within like urban planning, right? We know that within when we think about information architecture in an app, that scaffolding, there's my favorite word, it creates the potential of a space. And I feel the same way about the potential that whatever your offer has, depending on like what structure you've given it. So think about like the container for your work, and is it allowing you to have that space to be many things, to shine in your multifaceted way. And then the third thing that we spoke about is a secret way of actually niching a little bit. But rather than niching into a who, niching into a when. Thinking about when is the need greatest for your special combination of talents, of facets. When would somebody want that the connection that you uniquely bring, that translation that you can bring between like being many things, and appealing to that moment, helping people see that they are within that moment when they could really benefit from that. Because it might be that many different types of clients would have that kind of moment, and like maybe people across many different industries, maybe many different business sizes, but like that moment of needing your specialty, your complexity, it probably looks somewhat similar. And speaking to that moment can help people feel like you're the one that they want on their team. Like come hell or high water, they want to be hand in hand with you. And they, even if they don't know what the answer to their situation is, they feel like you're the right one to be able to tackle it in its wholeness, um, because they feel seen by you. So like thinking about that win and speaking to that win can be a really interesting way to like secretly niche. Also, one other thing that I've learned from my business partner Anna, is that niching doesn't have to be about demographics. It can be about psychographics. So rather than my target audience is this old, lives here, has 3 cats, whatever. It can be about ways that they're thinking about things. This ties right back into story. Like, what do they believe? In what state of mind do they find themselves when they most need to find you? So these are just ways I'm thinking about complexity as of late, and it's allowing me to do work that allows more facets of myself to shine. I'd love to hear from anybody else who feels like they have a lot of different kinds of things to offer, and how you have successfully packaged that in a business sense or otherwise.